Ladies and gentlemen, life is a maze of relationships, and sometimes we find ourselves walking alone without the familiar embrace of friendships. Today, I want to talk about a woman strong, brave, and resolute who stands without the crowd around her. It's a woman with no friends. This isn't a story of pity or despair, but of resilience, transformation, and the profound beauty of solitude. I will share with you 10 keynotes that reflect her journey, her challenges, and her triumphs. Together, we will explore the power of self-discovery, the value of independence, and the strength found in walking alone. Loneliness is a word many fear, but for this woman, it is a forge, a place where the fire of solitude sharpens her soul like a blade. She doesn't view being alone as a void. She sees it as a space for growth. In the quiet, she faces herself, the raw, unfiltered version of who she is. There are no distractions, no validations from others, just her thoughts and her truths. She learns that society often labels loneliness as failure, as if being without friends is a flaw to be fixed. But she rejects this notion. She knows that the bravest journeys are often taken alone. Loneliness teaches her to embrace discomfort, to find courage in her reflection, and to befriend her inner fears. It's not easy. There are days when the silence feels oppressive, when the absence of a friend's laughter feels like a wound, but she rises stronger each time, understanding that the moments of struggle are her teachers. Through them, she discovers her capacity for resilience. Loneliness strips away pretense. Without the noise of others' opinions, she learns who she truly is. She confronts the parts of herself she might have ignored in a crowded room, and she begins to heal. She becomes a warrior in her own right, fighting battles unseen by the world, but crucial to her spirit. This test of strength transforms her. She doesn't need to rely on others for validation or comfort. She becomes her own source of strength, her own light in the dark, and in this, she discovers an independence that is unshakable. So, ladies and gentlemen, loneliness is not a weakness. It is a crucible, and she emerges from it, not broken, but reborn. In a world that glorifies connections and social bonds, solitude often feels like a punishment, but for her, it becomes a gift, a rare opportunity to pause, reflect. She learns that solitude isn't an emptiness. It's a canvas waiting for her to paint her dreams, passions, and purpose. The noise of the world fades in solitude, and she hears the whispers of her own heart. She begins to ask herself, what do I want? What makes me happy? These are questions that often get drowned out in the chaos of life. Solitude gives her the clarity to seek answers. It's during these quiet moments that she realizes her own potential. She picks up hobbies, learns new skills, and dives into passions she never had time for before. The absence of friends isn't a loss, it's an invitation to grow. As she becomes comfortable in her own company, something many fear, she goes to the movies alone, enjoys meals by herself, and walks through the park without needing someone beside her. This self-assurance becomes her superpower. True solitude doesn't isolate her. It connects her to the world in a deeper way. She notices the beauty of a sunrise, the sound of wind, and the kindness of strangers. And in her aloneness, she feels more alive than ever. And so what seemed like a curse turns into a blessing. Solitude isn't a void. It's a mirror reflecting her inner strengths and beauty. Without friends to lean on, she has no choice but to find her worth within herself. Society often measures value by how many people surround you, how loved and popular you are, but she rejects this external validation. She learns that her worth isn't defined by others. It's something she carries within her. She starts to affirm herself. She looks in the mirror and sees more than just a lonely woman. She sees someone brave enough to walk alone. She realizes that her value isn't diminished by the absence of friendships. If anything, it's amplified by her ability to stand tall without them. There's power in knowing your own worth. It gives her the courage to set boundaries, to walk away from toxic relationships, and to demand respect. She no longer seeks approval from others. She gives it to herself. This newfound self-worth transforms her. She begins to glow with a quiet confidence, certainty that she is enough just as she is. The world notices not because she's surrounded by people, but because she shines on her own. Her journey isn't about being against friendships. It's about understanding that she doesn't need them to feel whole. Her worth is intrinsic, unshaken by the opinions or absence of others. And so she walks with her head high, her spirit unyielding, knowing that she is enough, always has been, always will be. Strength is often associated with loud, dramatic gestures, but hers is different. It's quiet, steady, and unwavering. Her strength doesn't need to be seen or acknowledged. It's something she feels deep within her soul. Each day she rises, she proves her strength. She faces the world without a safety net of friends, relying solely on herself. She knows that this path isn't easy, but she chooses it because it's hers. Her strength isn't in what she does. It's in who she is. It's in her ability to keep going, even when the road is lonely. It's in her decision to embrace her solitude, to find meaning in her aloneness. She understands that true strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. It's about finding peace in chaos, light in darkness, and hope in despair. This quiet strength becomes her anchor. No storm can shake her, no challenge can break her. She stands firm, not because she's unafraid, but because she knows she can handle whatever comes her way. Ladies and gentlemen, her strength is a reminder that power doesn't need to shout to be heard. It speaks in her actions, her choices, and her unwavering spirit. She learns that fear is the greatest barrier to freedom. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, and fear of loneliness. All of these keep people trapped in lives they don't want. But she decides to let go of fear. Without friends to cushion her, she confronts her fears head on. She learns to face rejection without flinching, to stand tall in the face of judgment. This courage opens up a world of possibilities she never imagined. She starts to take risks. She travels to new places, meets new people, and explores new opportunities. She realizes that the world isn't as scary as it seems. With each step, her confidence grows and her fear diminishes. This fearlessness doesn't mean she's invulnerable. It means she knows that even if she falls, she'll get back up. She becomes a symbol of courage, not because she's without fear, but because she chooses to rise above it. As she lets go of fear, she discovers a freedom she's never felt before. She's no longer confined by others' expectations or her own insecurities. She's free to be herself, unapologetically and wholeheartedly. In this freedom, she finds joy, pure, unfiltered, and unshakable joy. Society often defines success by external markers, wealth, popularity, and status, but she chooses a different path. Without friends to influence her, she redefines success on her own terms. For her, success isn't about having a large social circle or being the life of the party. It's about living authentically, pursuing her passions, and finding peace within herself. She begins to set goals that align with her values, not society's expectations. She focuses on what truly matters to her: growth, purpose. This new definition of success liberates her. She no longer feels the pressure to conform or compete. She's free to chart her own course, to live a life that feels true to her. Her journey isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about living fully, embracing the beauty of the present moment, and creating a future that reflects her dreams. And so her life becomes a testament to the power of living on your own term. When a woman with no friends looks around and sees no one to lean on, she doesn't crumble. She rises. Self-reliance becomes her anchor, a skill she cultivates through necessity and nurtures through intention. She learns to solve her own problems, whether big or small. When something breaks, she fixes it. When challenges arise, she faces them. She becomes her own provider, protector, and guide. In doing so, she discovers a quiet confidence that no one can take away from her. She knows she can handle life's twists and turns, not because someone is there to help her, but because she trusts herself to figure it out. This self-reliance empowers her. She starts to view obstacles not as insurmountable walls, but as puzzles waiting to be solved. She embraces failure as a teacher, understanding that every mistake brings her closer to her own resilience. She learns to adapt, to thrive, and to rise above whatever life throws her way. Her independence doesn't isolate her. It strengthens her. She realizes that self-reliance isn't about shutting others out. It's about knowing she can stand on her own while still being open to the world. This newfound power transforms her perspective. She no longer waits for someone to save her or accompany her. Instead, she becomes her own hero. She lives with the certainty that she doesn't need anyone to complete her because she's already whole. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman shows us that self-reliance is not just a skill, it's a gift. It allows her to stand tall, face life head-on, and embrace every challenge with grace and determination. Though she has no close friends, this woman doesn't live in isolation. She discovers that connection exists everywhere. If you're willing to see it, it's in the kind smile of a stranger, the laughter of a child in the park, or the shared understanding with someone passing by. At a tight-knit group of friends, she learns to open her heart to the world. She strikes up conversations with baristas, smiles at neighbors, and listens intently to those she encounters. These fleeting moments of connection become threads in the fabric of her life, adding richness and depth in unexpected ways. She also reconnects with nature, realizing that it has always been there for her. The rustling leaves, the sun warming her skin, the rhythmic crash of ocean waves, they all remind her that she's never truly alone. The earth itself becomes her companion, offering solace and inspiration whenever she needs it. Books, art, music also fill the spaces where friendships might have been. She finds herself immersed in the words of authors who feel like old friends, in the melodies of songs that speak to her soul. She learns that connection doesn't always come from people. It can come from anything that resonates with her heart. Through these experiences, she realizes that connection doesn't have to be constant to be meaningful. Every interaction, no matter how brief, leaves an imprint on her spirit. These small, everyday moments weave together to create a life that feels vibrant and full. The woman with no friends reminds us that the world is abundant with opportunities for connection if only we remain open to them. Her journey hasn't been without pain. The absence of close friends can leave a void that sometimes feels unbearable. There are nights when the loneliness creeps in, when the weight of her solitude feels too heavy to bear. But instead of running from this pain, she chooses to face it. And what can I do with this feeling? How can I use it to grow, to help to create something meaningful? Her pain becomes her fuel, driving her to explore her passions, serve others, and build a life filled with purpose. Perhaps she volunteers, pouring her energy into helping those who feel as lonely as she once did. Or she starts writing, using her words to reach people she'll never meet, but who might find comfort in her story. She channels her struggles into something that brings light to the world, turning her wounds into wisdom. The pain, she realizes, is universal. Everyone feels it in some form, even those surrounded by friends. What sets her apart is her ability to transform it into something beautiful. She doesn't let it define her. She lets it refine her. Her journey inspires others. People see her strength, her resilience, and her ability to create meaning from hardship. She becomes a beacon of hope, showing that even in loneliness, there is potential for greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman teaches us that pain, when embraced and understood, can become one of the most powerful tools for growth and purpose. Teaching the absence of friends, she learns the most important relationship of all, the one she has with herself. At first, it feels strange. How do you be your own companion, your own cheerleader, your own confidant? But over time, she learns. She begins to speak to herself kindly, offering words of encouragement instead of criticism. She celebrates her small victories, forgives her mistakes, and shows herself the love she once sought from others. She becomes her own greatest advocate, learning to trust herself fully. She spends time with herself as she would with a dear friend. She takes herself out on adventures, cooks her favorite meals, and finds joy in her own company. What once felt like loneliness transforms into something sacred, a deep, unshakable connection with her own soul. This relationship changes everything. When you love yourself truly and deeply, the world becomes less intimidating. Rejection doesn't sting as much, and the opinions of others lose their power. She becomes grounded, unshaken by external circumstances, because she knows she always has herself. In becoming her own best friend, she sets an example for others. She shows that self-love isn't selfish. It's essential. It's the foundation upon which all other relationships are built. Ladies and gentlemen, the beauty of this transformation is undeniable. The woman with no friends doesn't live a life of emptiness. She lives a life of fullness because she has cultivated the most important friendship of all, the one within herself. Talking alone, yet never alone. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of the woman with no friends is not one of sadness or despair. It's a story of transformation, strength, and profound self-discovery. She shows us that loneliness is not the end. It's the beginning of something extraordinary. Through solitude, she finds herself. Through pain, she discovers purpose. And through the absence of others, she builds a connection with the most important person in her life, herself. Your journey is a testament to the power of resilience, the beauty of independence, and the magic of creating a life that is uniquely your own. She walks alone, yet she is never truly alone, for she carries within her a strength and a light that guide her way. If you ever find yourself without a crowd, without the comfort of friends, remember this woman. Remember her courage, her determination, and her unwavering belief that she is enough. You're enough, you always have been. Walk your path with pride and let your own light illuminate the way.